Some call him the greatest coach ever, and the others want him fired. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Let's find out where.
Gautam Gambhir took over in July 2024 as India's coach with no coaching experience before to that. He never coached any domestic or first-class team. However, he spent 3 years as an IPL mentor, Lucknow Super Giants and then Kolkata Knight Riders. He won the IPL title once with KKR and 2 playoffs with Lucknow Super Giants. And then he got the India job. So people were skeptical. They had their doubts, and understandably so, because he never coached any team before. But here's how we are going to judge him. Not by feelings, not by headlines. 3 things: results, trophies, and context. So let's go through each one. Start with tests. The oldest format, the most traditional format, and the most unforgiving format of the cricket. Before Gautam Gambhir had come into the India team, India was a very successful test side, having played 2 WTC final. The combination of Shastri and Virat Kohli was very successful, and Gautam Gambhir got a team in transition. So India played 19 matches under Gautam Gambhir. India won 7 of them, 10 losses and 2 draws. Now, look at those 7 wins. It came against which team? Bangladesh, 2 wins, West Indies 2 wins, 1 win in Perth against Australia, and 2 wins against England in a drawn series. So the pattern is not subtle. Wins against weaker side and losses against the good side. So this was the story of Gautam Gambhir in the test side. But that's not the worst part. New Zealand arrived in India in late 2024 and did something nobody had done since 2012. Won a test series on the Indian soil. Not just one, they whitewashed India 3-0. And in that series, India touched their new lows. India were bowled out for 46 in 1 innings, their lowest ever home test score. And then came Australia, the border Gavaskar trophy down under. When we went to Australia, and India had not lost a BGT since 2014-15. But this time, it was predictable. Under Gambhir, they lost it to 1-3. And then, still, the worst part is yet to come. The South Africa series at home, India lost both tests. The home dominance, which Indian fans were proud about, it was gone, it was shattered, and India was losing home games like anything. 2 home series against top sides, 2 losses. And that's not a bad run. This is a humiliating run.
But before you write off the tests completely, England away, 5 matches, 2 wins each. India managed to draw that series in the test matches away from home with the team in transition. And bear that in mind, India have not won a series in England since 2007. That has been a long time.
Now ODIs. 20 matches, 12 wins, 7 losses, 1 tie. This is a very promising record. But in this record, India lost some ODI series. But before that, let's speak about the bilateral series. India won 2 bilateral series, 3 series lost. India lost to Sri Lanka away during his first project as Indian coach. India's first ODI bilateral defeat to Sri Lanka in 27 years. And then India lost to Australia in Australia, and India lost to New Zealand at home. And that was New Zealand's first ODI series win in India since 1988. But then the Champions Trophy, it came around in 2025. India were unbeaten throughout the whole tournament, and India lifted the Champions Trophy in Dubai in 2025. So the story of ODI is the bilateral cricket has been very inconsistent. However, in the ICC tournament when it mattered, India showed up and it won the Champions Trophy. However, you can credit this win on Rahul, Dravid and the previous team, because most of the team was unchanged from the 2023 World Cup. India was playing a settled team, and in that World Cup, India was one of the most successful teams. So you could figure out the math that why India won this Champions Trophy, because Gautam Gambhir did not have a lot of things to work around. And then there is T20s, his most successful format. He came with T20 credentials from KKR, and this is where he could prove his value. 45 matches under Gautam Gambhir, 35 wins, just 6 losses and 2 ties. 8 bilateral series wins and only 6 losses in 45 games. This is huge for any coach in any credentials and any team. The philosophy was clear from the day one that India would attack, always attack, and the team first attitude, because individual milestones are not important in this format. And this is what Gautam Gambhir's message around dressing room was. And India imprinted that. India played on that model, and India won Asia Cup in 2025. India won the T20 World Cup in 2026 in Ahmedabad. And here's something that does not get talked about enough, that Gambhir has never lost a final. Neither as a player, not as a coach. But we are not talking about Gambhir as a player, we're talking about Gambhir as coach. Of course, there were some strategic decisions, some player selection which was controversial, but not gonna lie, this T20 team has been the best T20 team we have ever seen in India and in the world.
So, where does that leave us? 2 ICC trophies in 18 months, a test record that's hard to defend, ODIs that go quite between tournaments. That's it. The verdict is not fully in yet. The next 18 months will tell us more than the last 18 months did. India will host in the next BGT, Australia is coming home, and the ODI World Cup in 2027 cycle is also just starting. T20 Olympics in LA 2028, another World Cup after that. So, the numbers right now give you two very different coaches, depending on which format you are watching. So in closing, I would just like to say, where do you think Gautam Gambhir's tenure should go from here? I personally believe he is not leaving this team until next 3 years, unless we start losing the home test series, BGT and other important series.
That's the honest picture. Not the greatest ever, not a failure, something more complicated than both. A coach who built a culture that wins the ICC tournament, but a lot of strategic failures and a lot of questionable selection. But the most important part, he hasn't solved the test cricket yet. And his real challenge will be the border Gavaskar trophy in the next 12 months. And in this sport, test cricket is still the final word.
Alright, I have one more thing to ask you guys. These videos take a lot of efforts for me to film. So if you like this video, please share this with the ones you think will like, and also subscribe to my channel, and see you in the next one.